Well, my fence is now complete. It still needs a tidy up in terms of cutting the tops, but at least it's sealed now and the possums and the wallabies can't get in. So I can now move on and plant the kiwi fruit that I have in pots and that so desperately need to go into the ground. Now, yesterday afternoon, I had a go at rotary hoeing again the section that I intend to plant the kiwi fruit in, because I wanted to get it more even and to be able to rake it out so that I can plant grass and clover amongst the kiwi fruit. But it was just too dry. So I put the sprinkler on it for about 20 minutes, moving it around, and have just dampened it down and allowed some moisture to get into those clods. So this morning I'm having another go with the rotary hoe, and hopefully we'll get a bit better job done today. It should be a little bit softer. So with the soil a bit damper, it worked much better, though it's still quite rough. I did come back and rake the soil to get it a bit more even, but as you can see, there's a lot of clods around still. I wish I had a roller to run over it, but I don't have one, so it'll be what it is. Okay, the next job is to mark out where I'm actually going to put these kiwi fruit. I'm going to need to build a trellis for them. It's not going to happen immediately, but fairly quickly, within a couple of months, I am going to need to get a trellis built. So I need to put them into the ground with that in mind. So I'm running a line that's around about 2.5 meters out from the existing fence, and that will give me space the other side and also space to plant something else along beside it. So I'll plant these kiwi fruit just in a row. Now I have 4 plants to put in, 3 females and 1 male. The females are in pink pots and the male is in a black pot. And at this point of their life, that's the only way you can realistically tell the difference. They have been labelled that way in the nursery. Now, because the ground is already cultivated, I really don't need to dig a huge hole. I'm simply digging one that's large enough to allow me to mix some extra amendments in. But first, I do like to loosen up the base, because it's still a fairly hard clay base, and open this up a little bit to improve drainage so they don't get waterlogged, and also allow the roots to get in. Now I'm mixing some of my homemade compost into the native soil, and I'll add with this some meat and bone meal. Mixing this all up together will create a nice start for the plants and allow them to get underway with a good boost. I've only just watered these pots, so they're nice and damp, but they're still fairly young plants. There's not a huge amount of root development there. I'll just loosen it a little bit to encourage it to explore. And firming it back in with your foot's always good. find it good to mound the soil on the lower side and create a little hollow that will retain water before actually watering it in. And I'll put this post in so that I can tie it up and train it up that until I get the trellis up. And they need a really good soak. Make sure it's nice and settled. And often a little bit of foot pressure around is good again once it's got some dampness in there. It needs to be pretty tight around, no loose spaces. I can just let that run now for a bit and go and work on the next one. And of course, having done it once, I need to do it another 4 times. Repeating the same process. This one is planting the male. Now, I have space for 5 plants here, so I will probably buy another female and add. I put the male in the middle, the 2 females will go then each end, and there should be reasonable fertilisation. Now, some of you will know that I already have kiwi fruit growing, and you might ask, why am I planting more? The reason is that the existing kiwi fruit aren't trellised and they're growing as very wild bushes, and this really doesn't make for good management. So my intention with these is to do much better and actually get these trellised so they're easier to manage and a better product, easier to pick as well as to prune. Once planted, there's 2 remaining jobs. The first is to actually tie the plants to these stakes that I've put in. First reason, to train them to go up. The second, of course, to stop them blowing around in this wind, which wouldn't be good, it would damage the plants. The second job is to mulch the plants really well. I'm using straw because I've got that available. Other materials could be used. But it's really important this time of the year because we're heading into the drier time, and to keep that moisture in when they're young plants is really important. So now that they're all in the ground, they are set, basically waiting now for me to come and put up a trellis. Now, I haven't really decided exactly how I'm going to construct that trellis. If anyone has any experience as to what works really well with kiwi fruit, I'd be happy to hear that in the comments. In the meantime, of course, I will need to water them fairly regularly, being small, unless we get lots of rain, which might still happen, but normally this time of the year is drier. Also, this section here, which is empty, I'm still thinking towards some hazelnuts. If anyone has experience with hazelnuts and wants to share that, I'd be interested if they think that's a good idea. But that's still probably quite a few months off, probably a winter planting to go into there. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video.